Hey everyone, ready to dig into some plant power for self-sufficiency? We're taking a deep dive into 20 multi-use plants for self-sufficiency. We're talking 20 plants, yep, you heard that right, 20, that you can find pretty much everywhere, just waiting to be turned into meals and remedies.
It's really surprising how many resources we just walk right by every day without even noticing. This book, it's like, hey, wake up. It's a guide to actually using these plants, for a more self-reliant way of life.
So like becoming plant-powered superheroes.
Kind of. It's about tapping into that potential.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's jump in. First up, dandelion. I'm guilty of tossing them in salads, but this book dives deep, deeper than I expected.
Dandelion is like the hidden superstar of the plant world. You can eat the leaves, yeah, but the roots, they make a mean caffeine-free coffee substitute. And don't even get me started on dandelion fritters.
Hold on, fritters. From dandelions.
You got to try them. And beyond the taste, dandelions are good for you. Diuretic properties might even support liver health.
Okay, I'm seeing dandelions in a whole new light here. And speaking of plants we often overlook, what about plantain? Like the stuff that grows between sidewalk cracks?
That's the one. It might look kind of scraggly, but plantain is a medicinal gold mine. Remember those childhood scrapes? Plantain can help soothe those, even burns. You can make a syrup from it, too. Coughs, sore throats, plantain's got your back.
Wow, this is blowing my mind. It's like a treasure hunt for natural remedies. Okay, the book also mentions garlic mustard, another one people often label as, well, a pain.
Garlic mustard, yeah, some consider it invasive, but it's totally edible roots, seeds, the whole shebang. Pesto, anyone.
This is incredible. We've got dandelions, plantains, garlic mustard. It's like a crash course in Foraging 101. But what about something a little less common? Something, I don't know, maybe a little whimsical.
You thinking about eglantine rose? Those gorgeous flowers.
Yeah, those. Pretty to look at, but are they useful?
Oh, totally. Rose hips, those little red things after the flowers fade more vitamin C than an orange. Jams, syrups, you name it. Some even use them for pain relief.
Now that's what I call a charming remedy. But let's get real for a second. What about something a bit more substantial? You know, to satisfy a rumbling stomach.
You're ready for burdock. The root, it's kind of like an artichoke. You can eat it raw, cooked, even ground into flour.
Burdock flower. Okay, no, that's something I need to try. But it's not just for food, right? The book mentioned using it for skin issues, too.
It's true. Burdock's got your skin covered, literally. It's a powerful detoxifier, though, so start slow with internal use. Which brings us to a crucial point. We're uncovering all these amazing plant uses, but we got to approach them carefully, with respect.
Right, like with that giant hogweed you were telling me about.
Oh yeah, that one's serious. It's edible, but the sap, watch out. Sunlight after you touch it, you're looking at a nasty burn. That's why knowing your plants is so important.
It's like they always say, knowledge is power. Speaking of which, I read something about chestnuts in the book. Apparently, not all chestnuts are created equal.
You got it. Sweet chestnuts, those are the tasty ones. Horse chestnuts, those will send you running for the bathroom, and not in a good way.
Good to know. So we find the right chestnut, the edible kind. What can we do with it?
Snack on them, sure. But you can grind them into flour, too. Some cultures even use the bark to make rope. Resourceful, right?
Totally. And speaking of versatile bark, we can't forget about the oak tree.
Oh, for sure. Acorns were a staple food for a long time. This book, it even breaks down how to make them edible. Tannins, you got to leach those out first. But then acorn flour bread, delicious.
Now that's what I call going back to basics. But oak bark isn't just for food, is it? It's got medicinal uses, too.
You're on a roll. Oak bark is astringent, which means it helps tighten things up. Think diarrhea, skin irritations. It's amazing, right? Every plant we talk about has all these hidden layers.
It's true. Okay, I gotta know. What about goutweed? I wage war on it in my garden. But could it be hiding some secret culinary talents?
You might be onto something with those secret culinary talents. Goutweed, aka bishop's weed, is a great example. It's one of those plants that seems invasive, but you can turn it into pesto. The young leaves have a milder flavor.
Okay, pesto round 2. I'm not complaining. But what else can we do with this goutweed besides making delicious pesto?
The book's all about getting creative, right? It suggests goutweed in like everything quiches, pasta, salads.
Yeah.
It really wants you to embrace these ingredients you wouldn't think of and use them.
I love that. It's like branching out using what's already out there.
Hey.
Okay, let's talk about another plant that people usually see as a nuisance, stinging nettle. I've had my run-ins.
Yeah, those stings, they're memorable. But here's the thing. Nettle is packed with good stuff. Vitamins, minerals, even protein. You just got to harvest it young before it flowers. And the book actually teaches you how to do that without turning into a human pincushion gloves or no gloves.
Okay, that's a skill I could get behind. So we can avoid the sting, but what about the taste? Is nettle something you actually want to eat?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Nettle soup is a classic in a lot of cultures, and the book has a recipe that looks amazing. You could even dry and powder it to add a nutritional boost to dishes year-round.
Wow, maybe I need to give nettle another shot. It's amazing how this book changes your whole perspective on these plants. Speaking of changing perspectives, let's talk about poplar. I've never really thought of a poplar tree as a source of food or medicine.
See, that's what I love about this book. It opens your eyes to a whole world of possibilities. Take poplar buds, for example. They're this unique flavor. You can eat them raw, make a spread, even infuse them in oil for their anti-inflammatory benefits.
Poplar bud oil. Now, that's something you don't hear every day, but the uses don't stop there, right? The book mentioned poplar wood, too.
You bet. Poplar wood is fantastic for making charcoal, which you can use for all sorts of things purifying, even as a natural remedy for digestion. It just goes to show that the benefits of these plants go way beyond just the leaves or flowers.
It's all about the bigger picture, isn't it? Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here, from dandelions to poplar trees. The variety is incredible. But what about something a little more, medicinal?
Ah, so you're curious about those plants that have been used for healing for centuries. Well, then we have to talk about meadowsweet. You might know it for its lovely scent, but it also has salicylic acid. It's the same stuff they use in aspirin.
Wait, are you telling me I could potentially brew a cup of tea for a headache? That's incredible.
You got a meadowsweet tea or a tincture can help with headaches, joint pain too. And as if that wasn't enough, the flowers also make a delicious syrup. Talk about a win-win.
It's like nature knew what it was doing, giving us both enjoyment and relief in one plant. Speaking of finding multiple uses, the book also talked about blackberry, and I'm not just talking about those yummy berries.
Right. Blackberry leaves are full of astringent properties traditionally used for diarrhea and sore throats. And here's a fun fact for you from the book. You can make a natural rooting hormone out of blackberry stems.
Now that's what I call closing the loop. It's fascinating how these plants can nourish us, heal us, and even help our gardens thrive. Speaking of plants with multiple personalities, elderberry has to be up there, right?
100%. We always hear about elderberry for its immune-boosting power, but people often forget about its culinary side. Those flowers, they've got this delicate sweetness, perfect for cordials, syrups, even fritters. And let's not forget elderberry jam. It's got this unique, almost spicy flavor that'll surprise you.
You know, you're right. I'm realizing there's a whole world of elderberry recipes beyond just syrup. But the book did mention something about preparation, right? Something about needing to cook them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have to cook elderberries thoroughly to get rid of any potentially toxic compounds. It's another great example of why knowledge is so important when it comes to using these plants safely.
Safety first, always. Okay, I'm curious about linden. I'm a big fan of linden tea, especially when it's chilly out. But the book suggested there's more to linden than just a soothing cuppa.
Linden is a real multitasker.
Mm-hmm.
It's true that the flowers and leaves are known for their calming effects, anxiety, insomnia, digestion, you name it. But it doesn't stop there.
Oh, really? Like what? Oh, I'm all ears.
Well, lindenwood is prized for carving, and you can even use it to make a natural fiber for cordage. It makes you think about how resourceful people used to be, finding ways to use every part of their environment.
It's pretty inspiring, isn't it? This connection to nature, to being resourceful. It's something we don't see as much anymore. Okay, one more plant before we wrap things up, and I think you can guess which one I'm going to say.
Let me guess, the ever-present, often overlooked violet.
You read my mind. I love how delicate and beautiful they are, but after reading this book, I'm realizing there's so much more to violets than meets the eye.
Absolutely. Violet leaves have mucilage, which can be used to thicken soups and sauces. Plus, they're soothing and anti-inflammatory. Imagine whipping up a batch of violet leaf pesto to soothe your skin and your taste buds.
Okay, now that's what I call a multitasking plant. And the flowers, those vibrant pops of color, surely they have a use beyond just looking pretty.
Oh, absolutely. You can turn those vibrant violet flowers into a syrup. Beautiful color and a delicate flavor, perfect for drinks.
Every plant we've talked about has been full of surprises. I feel like we've just scratched the surface, though. There's still a few more to go, and these ones are known for their healing power.
It's exactly. We're getting into the realm of traditional herbal remedies. And first up, mugwort. It's got a long history in traditional medicine, especially for women's health.
Mugwort. That's a new one for me. What kind of things can it help with?
Well, it's believed to help regulate periods and ease cramps.
Interesting. The book mentioned something about being careful with it, though, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It's super important to remember that just because something is natural doesn't mean it's always 100% safe. Like with mugwort, the book specifically says not to use it if you're pregnant.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder to do your research and talk to a professional if you're not sure about something.
Always good advice. Okay, what about calendula? Those bright orange flowers are hard to miss.
Calendula, or pot marigold, is like the queen of skin soothers. Burns, cuts, eczema, even diaper rash. You can turn it into an oil or a salve, and it goes to work with its anti-inflammatory and antimicrobial properties.
It's like a natural medicine cabinet.
Hmm.
And speaking of powerful plants, the book also talks about St. John's wort. I've heard it can help with mood.
Yeah, St. John's wort has been used to treat mild to moderate depression for a long time. But, and this is important, it can interact with some medications, so definitely talk to your doctor or a qualified herbalist before you start using it.
Another good reminder that natural doesn't always equal harmless. Going through this book has been amazing. I feel like we've only just started to uncover all the possibilities out there when it comes to self-sufficiency and connecting with nature.
I'm with you. It's amazing how it blends practical advice with history and a real respect for the natural world. It makes you want to look at those so-called weeds in a whole new light,
Sure.
not as pests, but as valuable resources.
It's like relearning something we forgot. Like the answers to a lot of our problems might be right outside our door if we just know where to look.
Exactly. And the best part is, this book gives you the tools to unlock those secrets.
Totally. And it's not just about identifying and using the plants either. It goes beyond that with things like a table of different ailments and the plants that can help with them. It's like a quick reference guide.
It's true. It's like having a personalized natural healing guide. And on top of that, there's even a calendar that tells you the best time to harvest each plant. So you're working with nature, not against it.
Talk about sustainability. It's about making sure those plants are around for a long time to come. This deep dive has been incredible. We've gone from dandelions to powerful healers, uncovered the hidden potential of 20 amazing plants. But before we wrap up, I have one last thought for you. This book focused on 20 common plants, but what about the unique treasures that are just waiting to be discovered in your own backyard? What if you became the expert on the plants in your area? Keep exploring, be curious, and remember the journey to self sufficiency often starts with a single step outside your door.